I'm Dr. Smita Sharma, and today we'll discuss voltage regulators. We have already studied what are the essential parameters of a voltage regulator, that decide the performance of the voltage regulator, and we had discussed fixed type of voltage regulators. Now today we'll discuss adjustable positive voltage regulators and adjustable negative voltage regulators. So in your syllabus we have to discuss only IC voltage regulators. So the most famous voltage regulator that is used as an adjustable voltage regulator is the LM317 series. This series acts as adjustable 3-terminal positive voltage regulator. There are different grades of regulators in the series, and the output voltage varies from 1.2 to 57 volts. So in this LM317 series we have all these series. We can get output voltage from starting from 1.2 to 57 volts. And also the output current may vary from 0.10 to 1.5 amperes. Generally they are available in standard transistor package. That is, standard transistor package means that is they are either in metal package or plastic covering, and they can be easily mounted and handled. Whenever you see LM317, you will find it has 3 terminals. The 3 terminals of this regulators are named V input, V output and adjustable, that is written as ADJ. It only requires 2 external resistors to set the output voltage. With the help of external resistor voltage, we can set its output voltage that we want to give to the any device that we are using. So when configured, LM317 develops a nominal 1.25 volt referred to as reference volt. So whenever it is placed or connected in the power supply, it develops a nominal voltage of 1.25 volts, and this voltage is termed as reference voltage, V reference, and it is reference voltage acts between output and adjustment terminal. So if we'll measure adjustment terminal and potential between adjustment and output terminals, then we'll in the circuit, then we'll find it is approximately 1.25 volts. So this reference voltage is impressed across resistor R1, and since voltage is constant, the current I1 is also constant for a given value of R1. Since R1 sets I1, this is called program resistor. Before discussing in detail, I'll first show you how it is connected in the circuit. See here. This is LM317. It has 3 terminals, VIN, V output and adjustment. We have a small nominal voltage between V output and adjustable voltage, and this is set by the help of R1 voltage having fixed current. So this is called the program resistors. I adjustment flows from adjustment terminal, and both I1 and I adjustment flow through output at resistor R2. So as you can see from the diagram, I adjust flows from adjustment terminal and I1 flows through output terminal. So both these combine and pass through output resistor R2, and from here we take the output. LM317 is so designed that I adjustment is very small and constant with line and load voltage changes. So the design of LM317 is done in such a way that if there are changes in the input voltage, input line voltage, or there is change in the load, that is the load is changing in turn it might change the current or voltage that is being drawn from the power supply. So it is designed in such a way that I adjustment is very small, so it provides almost constant voltage irrespective of changes in line voltage and load changes. So from figure we can easily write the output voltage V0. Voltage V0 is across this point and this point. So what we can write through figure using this loop, we can write V0 is equals to R1 I1 plus R2, and for R2 both currents are flowing through it, so I1 plus I adjustment. Here I1 can be calculated. I1 is the current flowing through resistor R1, so we can write V offset upon R1. This is offset voltage is that when there is no input voltage. So this for here the output voltage will be the reference voltage that we had discussed before. So this can also be written as I1 is equals to V reference upon R1. Now putting this value we can on simplification we get this V reference 1 plus R2 by R1 plus I adjustment R2. Now we have already discussed that this LM317 is designed in such a way that the reference voltage is generally 1.25 volts and I adjustment is very small. So we can neglect this term and we can put 1.25 here. So in this way we get V0 is equals to 1.25 1 plus R2 by R1. Now this equation shows that V0 is the function of R2 for a given value of R1. So if we keep resistors R2 and R1 fixed, then we'll always obtain an fixed output voltage irrespective of changes in the line voltage or the load or the type of load we are using. In the figure we have seen that no capacitors are needed unless LM317 is situated far from the power supply filter. If the voltage regulator is situated very far from the power supply filter, then only capacitors are needed, otherwise there is no need for capacitors. Now if power supply filter is far away, as input bypass capacitor is needed, an optional output capacitor can be added to improve the transient response. This we have already seen in case of fixed voltage regulators also. The adjustment terminal is bypassed with a capacitor to obtain high ripple rejection ratio. Sometimes we can bypass the adjustment terminal to obtain high ripple rejection ratio also by the help of a capacitor. With external capacitors used, it is necessary to add protection diodes to prevent the capacitors from discharging through low current points. So if we apply external capacitor in such a voltage regulator, then we'll have to add protection diode also that will prevent the complete discharge of the capacitor through low current points. Otherwise they'll get discharged very soon. They'll flow charge through low current points. So this is all about adjustable positive voltage regulator. Basically we have discussed LM317. Now in this in continuation we can also discuss adjustable negative voltage regulator. So it is we have LM337 series of adjustable voltage regulator, which is a complement to the LM317 series device. Now what does complement mean? The complement means that LM317 was providing positive voltage, LM337 will provide negative voltage regulation. So these negative voltage regulators are available in the same voltage and current option as the LM317 devices. So if we want negative voltage regulation, then we use LM337, and if we want positive voltage regulation, then we use LM317. Now we'll discuss the next type, that is switching regulator. Now we have seen that by the help of fixed voltage regulator we can obtain a fixed voltage that is not deviated by the changes in line voltages or the changes of the load, and by the help of adjustable voltages we can use the same voltage regulator for a longer range. But there is third type that we'll now be discussing, that is switching regulator. Now first of all, what is the need of a switching regulator and what is it? So we'll quickly find out the difference between the two, and then we'll discuss the switching regulator in detail. So fixed voltage regulator, all fixed voltage regulator, that is 78XX and 79XS, and adjustable voltage regulators LM317 are called series dissipative regulator, whereas a switching regulator is constructed with the help of a switch and are called series switching regulators. So initially the basic operation is different. These regulators simulate a variable resistance between input voltage and the load and hence work in a linear mode. What does that mean? That if there is any change will be in a linear mode. Whereas in switching regulators, the series pass transistors is used as switch between cutoff and saturation at high frequency, which produces a pulse width modulated square wave output. This output is filtered through LC filter to give average DC output voltage. So this is the basic difference. It only works according to the input voltage, and it is generally in the linear mode, and this will always give a average of the average DC output voltage. Now in fixed or voltage adjustable voltage regulators, for a specified range of variation in input voltage and load current, these regulators maintain a constant output voltage by dissipating excess power as heat. Also, the conversion efficiency decreases as the input output voltage differential increases or vice versa. So conversion efficiency is also very low. They are well suited for medium current application with small voltage differential. So these are the basic points that are for fixed or adjustable voltage regulator. Now in switching regulators, the output voltage is proportional to the pulse width and the frequency of the pulse that is being generated. So efficiency is independent of input output differential and can approach 95%. So that is why its conversion efficiency is independent of what is being given to it. So because of this, its efficiency generally approaches 95%. So as you can see, the efficiency is low for fixed and adjustable voltage regulator, so they can be used for medium current applications and small voltage, difference in the small voltage. But if we want a rather better for a specialized application, then we'll have to use a switching regulator. Now we'll see we have already discussed that switching regulator is far better than fixed or adjustable voltage regulator. Then we'll discuss here what is a switching regulator, what is the theory. So if we discuss the switching regulator, we'll see here this is a block diagram of a switching voltage regulator. It consists of 4 major components. This is, remember, this is a block diagram. It is not the actual diagram. It has a voltage source VIN, a switch S1, a pulse generator V pulse, and filter F1. This is basic switching regulator. Now we'll discuss these all 4 points one by one. First of all, voltage source VIN. So this voltage source can be any DC supply. It may be battery, or it may be regulated or unregulated supply. But it should satisfy certain requirements. First, it must supply the required output power. That the required output power is very important, that it should be able to supply. It must supply sufficient range for a line and load variation. It should meet the minimum requirements of the regulator system to be designed, and it must be able to store energy for a given amount of time during power failure. So all these things should be in a voltage source. So I have only shown it by a block diagram that this is a voltage source, but it is actually an electric circuit that follows all these essential requirements. Next is the switch. Now switch S1 is not a on-off switch. Basically it is a transistor circuit or thyristor connected as a power switch. We know transistor can act as a switch if it is made to work between cutoff and saturation range, and it is operated in saturated mode. The output of pulse generator alternately turns the switch on and off. So this transistor is turned on and off by the help of a pulse generator. Now next is the pulse generator. Now pulse generator V pulse. What does it do? It produces an asymmetrical square wave. Square wave means the square wave that is being produced is not symmetrical. When it might have different time periods when it is increasing or decreasing. As you can see by a diagram, this is, if we draw like this, and then we have written this. So you can see here that this and this width is not same. So this is not symmetrical wave. It produces an asymmetrical square wave varying in frequency or pulse width. So it may have a different pulse width or it may have a different frequency. The frequency because of this it is called a pulse width modulation. The most effective frequency range is around 20 kHz for optimum efficiency and component size. So while using pulse generator, these things should be taken. This frequency is inaudible to human. This frequency is well within the switching speeds of most inexpensive transistor and diode. And so why we are using it? Because it is inaudible to human ear, and it is well within the switching speeds of most of the transistors and diodes. So it is best to be used. The duty cycle of pulse waveform determines the relationship between input and output voltages. The typical operating frequency of switching regulators range from 10 Hz to 50 kHz. So because of the high operating frequency, what happens? It helps to reduce the ripple voltage, that is more cleaner DC and stable DC. efficiency decreases slightly and there is increase in the electrical noise. For a lower operating frequency, if we use it, improves the efficiency, it reduces noise, and it requires large filter components. But what is the, if we operate it at high operating frequency, these are the conditions, and if we operate it at lower operating frequency, these are the conditions. So if we'll optimum operating frequency we use, and for that we also use a filter. So next is the filter. So filter F1 converts the pulse waveform from the output of the switch into a DC voltage that we require. It is also called a DC transformer because due to switching mechanism allowing to converge the same as transformers. What do transformers do? They are either step up or step down. They increase AC voltage or decrease AC voltage. Here the same behavior is done by this filter F1. That is why they are called, but they do it for DC. So they are also termed as DC transformers. The output voltage is the function of duty cycle and input voltage. So if we write the formula for V naught, it is T on upon capital T into VIN. If T is constant, now if T is kept constant, then V naught will be directly proportional to VIN. T on if we keep VIN constant. In this for this case, it is called a pulse modulation. But if we keep T on as constant, and then V naught is proportional to 1 upon T, or 1 upon T is the reciprocal of the time period, and that is frequency. In this case, it is called a frequency modulation. Generally, frequency modulation regulator are easier to design, and since their designing is simple, they are easy to build. But pulse modulated regulators are used in commercial switching supplies with multiple output. It is more complex, it has many more components, and suitable in high current applications. So for commercial purposes, pulse width modulated regulators are generally used. Now here we should remember, filter is the major important part in proper design of switching regulator. Because if filter is not suitable filter is not used, then switching regulator will not be able to work in an efficient manner. So we know the basic filter types are RC, RL, RLC. Generally RLC is used. The inductor in the RL or RLC filter is the one of the most important component of the switching regulator, because there are several areas that are affected by the choice of inductors. Now how the components are used, that is switch and filter, which transistor is used and what type of filter are used, it determines the output mode. It can be either step down, that is voltage that is being provided is slightly low than at the input. It can be higher than at the input, or it may be inverting. So it depends on the type of switching and switch and the filter that we are using. Such type of switching regulators are available in IC capsules, and generally the most commonly integrated are MUA 78540, that is made by Fairchild company, and other is TL497. It is a manufacturer of Texas Instrument. These two integrated regulators are commonly used for switching supplies. So this is all about a brief introduction about voltage regulators. For this, from this we have completed our syllabus, but for voltage regulator, I'll be discussing its basic working. What is the basic working of a power supply and what is the basic working of voltage regulator in the next chapter, in the next lecture. Thank you.